right, let's do it. You're tuned back in to Degen Fantasy, and today is Sunday early morning stream with your boy. I'll introduce you first. Double Down Dan, the betting guru, the beard better. That's how we do it. And the bearded better. And it's your boy Rocky Crop, Rookie Bets, and I got two Zins packed in, ready to go. And we are going to be discussing today a lot of picks tonight, and also getting into what makes a good sports better and the secret advantages that you can pull into your sports bets. How you been, Dan? You good?
Oh, dude, I'm just locking in bets as we're going here. Got to get ready for this race. Been good. Been making a lot of good bets lately. I'm feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty good.
Okay.
Had a good run.
I've been doing all right lately, so I withdrew about a good amount of money, majority of my money from my account to pay some bills, and now I'm locking in on rebuilding that bankroll. So I got a smaller budget. I started with, I left 50 in my account, made it to around 240, 250 so far, and that's over the last like week and a half. So I'm slowly getting it there. But just to recap how I've been getting there, one of our picks from last week is slewed up on a display. So this is what we are rocking with going into, I think, what day it was. I think it was it Thursday or Wednesday?
It was Thursday. Yep, last stream. Thursday.
So we did hockey shots and some basketball picks, and those were our picks, and this is how they went. We hit on 5 out of 3. Zabinajad, Hughes, McKinnon, Barnes, and Tatum all hit.
We went 5 and 3. We didn't hit 5 out of 3.
I'm fucking shot. I don't know why I keep doing that. We went 5 and 3. And Zabinajad had a great night. McKinnon, do you know how many shots McKinnon had on net?
Like 9? Was it 9?
He had 11.
Oh my God. Yeah, went way over it. Marcia Show fucking really he just doesn't want to do it anymore, apparently.
Yeah, I think it's because he doesn't have Eichel, so I'm off Marcia Show for the foreseeable future. But, dude, McKinnon's line could have been 10, and he still would have hit. And I also off-stream added in Matthews, who had 9, I think. So that went really well. So I hit on a parlay of Zabinajad, McKinnon, and Matthews. Then I hit on a parlay of Hughes, Barnes, and Matthews.
Nice.
And those all went great. And then Suzuki shat the bed, but my team won, so, I'm not really too mad at it, with the Penguins playing against the Montreal Canadiens. But that's how that went. And, we're up money. You're good. You can walk by. So tonight, I don't know if I showed you any of these. I have your picks, too, that we're going to go over. But this is what we're checking out tonight. Mm-hmm. Let me see if this is the right display right here. This is all hockey shots. I looked at the slate of NBA games tonight, and I have a display for that. But I didn't like any props necessarily. I wasn't crazy about anything in particular. Mm-hmm. So I know you're 50-50 with your hockey knowledge, and I'm more the hockey guy here. Do you know more than half of the players on this board?
Yeah, just from betting. Obviously, Zabinajad came through the other night. Crosby, easily know him. Braden Point, we've been on most of the season. He's been doing really good. Bedard is like a lock at this point. He's always going over that total. Kucherov, I'm very familiar with that piece of shit. And then Carlson, I think we played a couple times as well.
Yep.
DeBrincat, I want to say we've actually gone the other way against him a couple times and has worked out. So I'm surprised to see the more.
I think when I was playing DeBrincat, it was when Kane just got to Detroit, and he's a right-handed player. So can I ask you a question? How many players on the board are left-handed?
I'm gonna guess that there's one, and it's maybe one. I don't know who it is.
So it is 2. It's Crosby and Kucherov. So
Crosby's a lefty, huh?
Crosby is a lefty, yeah.
Wow.
So what I will say is on this channel, the stream's topic is the secret betting formula to win. So here's another formula that we use. I'm not going to give away all the juice on it, but you are going to want to target right-handed shooters. I looked at the last however many years, different statistics, and when you get into sports betting, that's kind of the difference between, because I wanted to ask you that, what's the difference between like a casual bettor and a professional bettor? And I think one of the main things is, and I have a video on this, we're going to look at it a little bit, is statistically not looking into stats and just placing bets is, I think, is more of a casual thing. I did a lot of research on this edge that I have, and I'm sharing basically the broad side of it. Target right-handed shooters, and you can look into players that you like, spots that you like, but they're shoot first mentality players, and I'm going to leave it at that. So looking at players like Carlson, who's a defenseman, his line being 2.5, you might be like, oh, why the fuck would we hire people actively shooting defensemen? This is
Yep.
on my team, so I know how they want him to operate. They want him to shoot the puck, quarterback the power play, get pucks on net. So you have players like Sidney Crosby in front who are amazing at tipping the puck. They just want pucks on net. And Kucherov, he has missed this line 4 of the last 5 games. He hit, I think, a game or 2 ago. And I think just this matchup against New Jersey, where he's really going to have to skate. I'm not saying obviously he's one of the best players in the league, but I don't know. He's in a weird slump after that All-Star break. I think a lot of the talk got to his head. I think a lot of the bullshit. I think there's some shit going on off the ice. I don't know what's up with him, but I'm targeting that spot. And I wanted to briefly talk about, as much as we target right-handed players on this, and the comment I'll get to in like 3 seconds, as much as we target left-handed players or right-handed players, lefties that are like in the top echelon of Sidney Crosby, Connor McDavid, Austin Matthews, those players being not only the best on their teams, but the best in the league, those are players that I'm comfortable with targeting left-handed wise, because if their team, especially like an example like Crosby and the Penguins, if their team is going to win, they have to play well. And specifically targeting this matchup for Sid, because I've seen Sid on some, hit on a bunch of Sid, seen some Sid matchups where I was like, maybe I shouldn't have took that. But playing against Philadelphia, he has the most points in his career against Philly. No other players ever scored more points in their career than Crosby against Philly. And it's a matchup where he thrives. Afternoon game, I think he's going to be ready to rock. Right. So what picks jump off the board for you?
I like Bedard right off the bat just because he's pretty consistent. And like you said, with certain people on this board, their team does well if they do well. So I think Crosby, Bedard, Stamkos, I think those are the ones that really jump off the board. I noticed we're really fucking going after New Jersey today, which is fine. I feel like they let up quite a few shots, so that's always good. I like to bring it against Chicago only because Chicago's shit. But yeah, I'm a little weary on the Pittsburgh guys. I feel like sometimes like it's easy money to go on the over for them. Other times I feel like if they're up 3-0, like Crosby's just not going to shoot. So those are the ones that I get a little worried about. I also get a little weary of playing defensemen just in general.
Yeah.
Their shot chances are just a lot lower than a forward. So I try to stay away from them. I'll probably just play Carlson
straight up,
separate, just straight up. And then I'll go through and parlay the forwards and shit like that. But yeah, those are the ones that stand out though.
The one thing I like about defensemen for shooting is that, so you know how like we like to fade the public? I feel like a broad way of fading the public is a lot of people really, really like the forwards. Obviously, that's their job, is to get pucks on net and score. But in a defensive role, I can target right-handed offensive defensemen. Because, for example, Erik Karlsson, he's won the Norris as best defenseman in the league. For years, for a long time, he was the best defenseman in the league, and he's still up there. He's probably at least top 5 currently.
Yep.
And it's just a role. It's like your job at the blue line. If you don't know what to do with it, just get it on net. Just get it on net. So it's not a bad spot for certain players. Other players just completely avoid getting pucks on net. And also,
and you definitely you want to target people just to like drop the veil a little bit. You do want to target people that are going to be on that power play as well. Right?
Oh yeah.
Like
that's
kind of because that's where you're getting the majority of your shots and shit like that. You got a little bit more space to operate. So if they're on the first line power play, not a bad play on them either.
Yeah, and the Penguins power play has not been that great over the last like probably 2 or 3 months, and they just switched one of our best defensemen who's been there since Sid got there, Chris Letang, to the number 1 power play unit for Karlsson. So Karlsson is now on that top power play unit. So that's more ice time for him, and I think he can get there. If I had to make a 3-leg parlay out of this, which I'll be throwing this on TikTok later, I would do Bedard, Zibanejad, and either Point or Stamkos. I'd probably go Bedard, Zibanejad, Point is how I would look tonight for a 3-leg parlay, and that's a great spot to lock in on. So I really like that spot. By the way, guys, any questions you have on bets you have placed currently, stuff to place tonight, feel free to go ahead and lock them in the comment section. We'll give you guys some feedback. And we're also going to be here for fantasy football season coming up in October. So when we get drafts going, waiver wire, and all that stuff, feel free to come in and ask questions. Pivoting over before we get into some TikToks and reactions to the theme of the show, which is the secret betting formula, let's get into some NBA picks for tonight. So these are my picks, and I want to hear what you like or what you don't like. This doesn't mean you have to lock them all in, but if I had to pick a winner in each one of these games, this is where I'd be locking it in.
Yeah, and I just want to remind everybody, and if they weren't here last week, that we picked the Hornets last week at a nice plus 350 on the money line against the Jazz. Hit that quite easily. Our fucking NBA picks have been absolutely absurd lately.
I'm going insane on TikTok on NBA picks.
So what I would say right off the bat here, like the Cavs against the Wizards, I like. Oh man, tough slate today. Tough fucking slate. I like the Hornets against the Trailblazers.
Me too.
Jazz against the Spurs, maybe. I feel
the
weird
Blazers
about the
are
Jazz.
favorited. Blazers are favorited in that spot.
Yeah, which is a mistake. I think the Hornets are playing their best ball right now. We both took
3 or 4 game
I
heater.
think we both took them under their win total too, which is not good for us. But they are gonna. I feel like they would win. So here's my two. I would give you a 2-teamer: Cavs, Hornets. Just fucking pair them two together and run that. I think the Wizards are trash. The Trailblazers are trash. The Hornets are really on the come up. I really like them lately. Bucks against the Sixers, maybe a 3-teamer right there.
Yeah.
But the rest I could easily see go the other way. That Pacers-Mavs game, I feel like the Mavs are humming right now, but man, those Pacers are good, dude.
They're good.
That
was more the thought process in that pick was like, not only are the Pacers really good this year, but they're kind of in a losing spell right now. And the Mavs coming off like some really good games where they put in good performances. I think they can keep it rolling here. They got Kyrie rolling finally.
They have looked like a much more cohesive team, which is like so surprising for them. I thought they were fucked this year. I like that Thunder against the Rockets. I think that's a spot. Listen, this Thunder team is not getting the respect they deserve, but they're when I watch them, they're top 2 in the fucking league. I just think it's them in Boston that are like head and shoulders above everybody else. I think the Thunder, SGA are coming in hot. They have so much young talent, so many fucking dynamic playmakers. They're going to be a fucking problem in the playoffs, dude. I don't think anyone's going to want to play them. But yeah, good, crazy slate today. Really, really good matchups. I could see what you're saying though about the props. I feel like I wouldn't know where to go prop wise with this slate.
Yeah, because there's not some obvious matchups like that Scotty Barnes pick we took for rebounds. Like that's been hitting a lot. And the matchups basically like for Tyrese Halliburton, I don't really like his matchup against the Mavs. Donovan Mitchell is the one person I was really looking at. I didn't end up placing anything on him or adding anything to the displays, but I would take a look at Donovan Mitchell. I would look at Chet Holmgren for rebounds and Wembanyama for a double-double because Wembanyama just gets boards and boards and boards and boards and boards. And the Jazz-Spurs game is probably my least confident spot. If I had to put a 3-leg together,
I almost put the Spurs on. I feel like the Spurs might beat the Jazz. I don't know.
The Jazz are they're like. Do you think the Jazz are better than the Hornets?
Yeah. I mean, on paper, I would assume. I just feel like the Jazz are kind of trying to lose at this point. I think they made a pretty. Yeah, I think they make it abundantly clear that they're kind of tanking right now. I don't know, man. I like Wembanyama. I feel like the Spurs and the Hornets have been playing decently, a little bit better than they would, but I'd stay away from most of these games. Like I said, Thunder, Cavs, maybe Bucks, Hornets, something like that. But the rest,
I would probably co-sign Thunder, Cavs, Bucks, and I would also. If you lock that in as a 3-leg, I would also lock in a 4-legger on top of that and add in the Hornets to juice the shit out of those odds because adding the Hornets to those odds is a fantastic spot. So as we discuss and move forward, I got some questions for you to pick your brain a little bit. So we have done very well sports betting, and I've learned so much from you about the keys to being successful in sports betting, and almost to the point where, like, on one side of it, there's just smart, logical ways to play this game of sports betting. And on the other side of it, there's almost, to me, it feels like a formula, and it's a subconscious formula. It's not something where we write down. And I know there's some things that, like college basketball, women's college basketball, you have edges and things that you follow.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's this subconscious formula based on different sports. So I'm going to name some sports, and I want you to kind of like ballpark an idea of how you like to attack these said sports, because I know they're all different. Because there's
Okay.
certain angles that I like to attack hockey that I wouldn't want to attack the NBA and the NFL. So I know the NFL season's over, but I just want to start with the NFL. What makes the NFL different from the other four major national sports on how you like to target, whether it's props or money line or to wins?
So the NFL is probably what I would say is the toughest American sport to bet on because there's so much money. The lines are razor sharp. So like the NFL, you're going to attack it like as soon as the lines come out because that's where you have the most discrepancy. So unless you have a model that's like ready to pump a fucking number out to you right away and you trust that fucking model, the NFL, like when it comes to money lines, when it comes to totals, they fucking shift so much in the first 24 hours that like if you don't get your money down within the first 24 hours, you're going to have a really fucking hard time. And you saw it with props. Like when we went over props, like we would take it early in the week. And by the time game time rolled around, it would either go up 2 points or down. Some of our lines would go down 7 yards.
There were many nights where we gave out our parlays of the day. And so like, let me pop up one just for an example for you guys. We'd pop out something like this and say we got, let's say we got Gibbs at 73.5 and the line pushed to maybe that's a bad example. Let's say 5 receptions because it's close right here. Say if his line,
I think he went up to like 5.5.
5.5. So we're like, hey guys, especially when we send out group chat text to our buddies, and they're like, hey, what do we got? We're like, we locked these in already, and we're streaming today. So segue over and make these picks. And they're like, hey, I got Devonta at 5.5, and we're like, oh, okay, glad you took the pick. But we're in a position where we're celebrating the same pick, and they're in a position where they're like, fuck, we didn't get in time. So I co-sign what you're saying. You can keep going.
Exactly, and that's like, when it comes to sports that have more money on them, you got to move earlier. You got to move before the line shifts. Now, like the sports that I focus on are just they have less volume, like less profile. Like because with the NFL, not only in football in general, like college football, NFL, like you have so much money coming on certain teams, like the Cowboys, Notre Dame in college football. They have like a ton of money just coming in and in and in and in. So it really inflates these lines where like, if you're looking at like a college basketball, not many people are betting like Merrimack versus Quinnipiac. Like, so you're going to have like a little bit of more variation, a lot more room to like, hey, this should be probably like 5.5 and it's at 7.5. Like, I'll take the opposite side on that. So, the NFL is also one of the sports that I truly like do not like to bet. I just think like unless you are so sharp and have like really good information, like that's when stats come into. Stats in the NFL are huge. I mean, all sports, they're huge, but like I feel like basketball is much different. The NFL, like if you, you got to be right there. Like when the lines drop, you got to be on them, ready to go to unload your fucking wad on them.
Yeah. So with the NFL, I felt like it was enjoyable to bet on because the pace of viewership, especially while consuming something like NFL Red Zone, the pace of viewership allowed me to keep track of my bets a little bit easier rather than all this shit going on at once. And the pace of like, also, I guess tying in fantasy into it a little bit, it gives you a little bit more of a background knowledge on like management of your bets. So like, looking at spots, keying in on players, liking it. I feel like it's easier to like stay on top of every one of these NFL players.
I agree with that. I do think, and here's where like the money line, the total, the spread, like those are things I stay away from. But like I really think that little market within the NFL is the prop market. And that's the one where they're not like, it's hard to line every single skill player on a team.
Yeah.
Like, it just is. It's hard to line it. So, like, there are going to be some skewed lines, and we were able to attack it like a motherfucker last year.
Yeah.
I mean, we fucking murdered the NFL. And it was literally because of those player props. Like, we keyed in on matchups and key matchups in those games. The very best players, sometimes the very little-known players, but like that's where you can attack the NFL. Like, and I think that prop market like exploding is only going to fuck us over in the end because so much more money is going to go down on these fucking guys. But for right now, it's like the Wild West. Like every book's trying to fucking figure out some sort of consistency to win on those bets. But right now, I think that's the area of the NFL that you can attack very well.
So I'll speak on the differences with the NFL when you're looking at bets, because I feel like it is easier to target overs or unders with offensive players, because if you look at like an NBA team or a hockey team, like there's usually a good amount of guys, especially with hockey and you're cycling in, or basketball, people like sit on the bench or they check in. Like if you want to target like a team like the Lions, let's say Amon-Ra St. Brown, he is their number one option. So if they have a bad game, he'll probably miss his line. But if they're winning a game in a good matchup, you can target Amon-Ra St. Brown and know that he's going to be involved. If you say, okay, so say, for example, if I took Sidney Crosby tonight to get a goal, he could have a phenomenal game, but it may not just be his night, because theoretically the offense doesn't necessarily need him to win, even though they're better when he's involved. But Amon-Ra St. Brown, if you're going to get the ball down the field, you need him to be included. But also saying that, it's different when you look at teams like the Rams or the Eagles, when you have Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, or A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. So finding spots that were great to target for players that like their role is so important. And Amon-Ra came to my head because I feel like Amon-Ra's role is so much more important on the fucking Lions than Stephon Diggs is on the Bills. Because more or less they lean on them, but at the same time, there's levels to it. Like Justin Jefferson, that's a level where they lean on. Tyreek Hill, when you saw Tyreek Hill get hurt in the Dolphins, their whole offense crumbled for the rest of that game because they're like, fuck, how do we adjust? Whereas if you look at basketball, maybe the Miami Heat heavily rely on Jimmy Butler, but it's also a game where, holy shit, Duncan Robinson, who comes off the bench, has 30 points because he can just shoot threes. And he has a night, and you know what? Guess what? If Duncan's hot, I'm just giving it to Duncan. But it's hit or miss. I feel like it's easier to target. So we went over the NFL, talking about like how you target them. What do you look for? And I'll let you pick either. And we can also do NASCAR included in this after we do the NHL and the NBA.
Yeah, we need to pop up those picks too, by the way.
Oh, I got them. Yeah, I wanted to save it for that full topic. What do you target, or what do you look at in basketball, for example? Like, what are your advantages?
So, the NBA is the most volatile market when it comes to basketball. It's just, I feel like at any point in time, like you just said, Duncan Robinson could come off the bench and have 30 points. Like you could have him lined to a fucking, like he should have 3 shots tonight and fucking make one of them. Like, let's go under the 7.5 points or whatever. But there are times when dudes just get fucking hot, and like you can't account for that. There's also times where teams don't show up. Like maybe it's the back-to-back second night, and they just don't fucking show up that night. So like you really have to watch that injury report when it comes to the NBA. If you don't, you're fucked. Like when it really comes down to it, you could have fucking the Mavericks and you could be like, all right, Luka and Kyrie are playing tonight. Good. They're playing the fucking Spurs. They should fucking win this game. Let me put some money on them. And then game time comes around and Luka and Kyrie are resting because they had a fucking bug land on their ankle or some shit like that. Like you just, with the NBA, I just feel like I stay away from the NBA as much as fucking possible. I've gotten a little bit more into it because you watch it a lot. You have good insight on it. I really do feel like you have some sort of edge when it comes to the NBA. But my expertise really lies in the college game. I love college basketball. It is volatile because 18-year-old kids sometimes get drunk before the night before a big game, and they fucking come out and they score fucking 1 point, and that's it. But most of the time, you have a clear-cut coaching advantage. Most of the time, you have a clear-cut talent advantage, and then most of the time, the books, because they don't have money on it, because there's not a lot of money on that Merrimack,
You're good.
fucking dogs, man.
You're good, brother.
Anyways, so most of the time, because you don't have like a much money on like a Quinnipiac or a Merrimack, you can find like a little school that's playing another little shitty school, but there's clearly a talent advantage on one side. And if you have a model to back that up on top of it, it really does give you a good number. Like I handed out picks last week and it went 2-2, but like the following night, all of my picks that were top rated hit. So like there is a clear advantage in modeling that. But like I said, NBA, I try to stay away from. I stick to the college game because I feel like it's a little bit more easy to predict.
Yeah. So one thing I'll say, speaking on NBA, is that when I look at every sport, there's shit that I like target that becomes my favorite because eventually I start doing so well on it. So like in the NFL, I started to really enjoy receptions. I started to really enjoy anytime touchdowns for like good spots for good players. But I don't know, in the NBA, I'm only really ever feeling like the to wins, and then I'll look into like rebounds. Like I don't have a prop that I favor like I do hockey with like hockey shots. Like because I feel like it's like the volatility, like you said, is so much. Then also like in college basketball, I feel like if it's like since they're younger kids, even though they might get drunk or they're not getting paid, like they want to play, so they try their asses off. The competitiveness, like we talked about how it's lacking in the NBA, it's huge in college basketball.
Yeah.
But to that point, when I'm looking at rebounds, I don't know. It makes me think of a player like Carmelo Anthony, where he'd get a board and be like, I got that shit, get the fuck out of here. Like, it's the effort for it. So it's like, maybe someone's great at getting rebounds, but are they going to fucking try for them on this any given night? So it's a tough spot.
And is this a fucking back-to-back? Did they just have 30 rebounds the prior night? Like, are they going to give a fuck about this game? That is the biggest thing. The effort in the NBA is just so off fucking kilter. Like, you never know what you're going to get day to day in the fucking NBA. Like, you just don't, man. That's why I think it's probably like that. I feel like hockey we've got down pat, which is like super surprising because like we shared before, hockey's one of the fucking like the lowest percentage points you can get when it comes to like a professional hockey bettor. Like professional hockey bettors, 49% of the time they fucking hit. Like that's fucking nuts, dude. In any other sport, you have to hit 58%. If you don't hit 58%, you don't make any fucking money. So you can make money at a lower rate in the NHL. We clearly have an edge there because we're hitting way above fucking 49%. But like that is our clear and best sport. I feel like it's NASCAR, it's hockey, shit like that. But if you notice, like our clear and best sports, there's little to no volume comparatively in those sports to like the NFL or the NBA. Yeah. Like on a nightly basis, people like casual bettors are pulling up their DraftKings and watching a game, throwing money on it. Like that's just how it works. Like it's the same thing with UFC. Like every Saturday, somebody will, a casual fight fan will pull up the fucking UFC card and throw a couple bucks on it. You know what I mean? So like areas where you can attack, find the low volume and stick to those sports and really learn them and know them. Luckily for us, like I love watching people take left turns and you love watching people play with sticks. Like that's just how it is. Like luckily for us, those sports like we gravitated towards have no volume on them. So we have great spots that we can attack every fucking day. It's great, dude.
Yeah. So before we get to NASCAR, I want to play one video talking about that. Because I want to see which one it is. So yeah, all right. So this is I don't know if you probably know who this is. It's Sean Perry. You know Sean Perry wins.
No, I don't know him. I might know his face when he pops up.
Talk to me.
It sounds simpler than it actually is, but it works. Is fading the public. Say the Lakers are playing the Nets. Lakers are generally a public team. They're supposed to be a 7-point favorite. The sportsbook knows that everyone's going to bet on them. So instead of them being a 7-point favorite, they make them a 9-point favorite. What does that mean now? The Nets are going to be +9. So you go and fire Nets +9 instead of +7, and you're going to make money long term that way.
So you think if I just found whatever the public's betting on and just bet the exact opposite long term, I'd be profitable?
100%. That's the only way to win in sports.
How do you feel about like betting systems and all that?
It's all crap.
It's all crap?
Bullshit.
Not one.
The truth is the sportsbook doesn't care on who wins or who loses. They just want to make sure they have 100 here and 100 here, and they keep their free 10%.
Yeah.
So they do it to average of the public. So if you just bet opposite of public, you're long-term going to win.
So that's more or less something that you were kind of talking about, but he also went on and spoke about some extra stuff. So that's Sean Perry. He's like a very, very popular sports bettor in the space.
Yeah, he sounds like a fucking moron. So I just want to be honest with everybody who follows him. He's a fucking clown. Listen, I'm sure whatever, maybe he does well, maybe he doesn't. Fade the Public has been around for as long as sports gambling has been around. Like, you find the big public money spots and you fade them and you go against. People have developed actual systems that just rely on that. Now, the problem with that is this. The square bettor does not always lose. We saw that with the Chiefs in the playoffs. Now, if you're fading the public in the playoffs against the Chiefs, you're losing every fucking round. So, yeah, that works sometimes. But if you don't have an effective strategy along with like, hey, I like this spot for this guy and there's a ton of money on the other side, that's a great spot for me.
Mm-hmm.
If it's just like, oh, look at that, the money's over here. Dude, listen, we've all done it. We've all been there. Every fucking gambler thinks they have a system in the beginning. His system is shit. I would really, really advise you to not only back up that big public money with solid statistics. You need some sort. You can't just look at listen, sports books, they don't fucking think that you're going to take the Lakers -9. That's why they put the line there. That's not at all how the sports books work. That's not at all how they work. They set a line. If a sharp sports syndicate, that means a group of sharp bettors pool their money so they can gamble it, comes in on Lakers -7, they move the line up to -7.5. If it's a really respected gambler and there's a lot of money coming in on that side, then they move it again to 8.5. If there's more money and they think that, oh shit, our line is too low because more respected gamblers come and buy that fucking place a fucking purchase order on that line, they will move it to 9. They don't just set it at 9 because they think people are going to bet it at 9. They set it only by the money. They come in, hey, they have models that run all these fucking games. They're the best models in the fucking world. They employ more modelers than any other fucking syndicate on the planet. They have statistics and shit to back up what that line should be. That's why sometimes you'll pull up your sportsbook and be like, why are the Chiefs underdogs to the fucking Raiders? And the Raiders end up winning that fucking game. The Las Vegas doesn't give a fuck. They have every edge, every fucking edge. That's why you have to fucking pick and choose your spots, obviously. But
so that's
you
the
can
same
fade the
dude.
public, but eventually it's gonna fucking lose.
Yeah, it's the same dude that just lost $1 million in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and like I said, hey, listen, that's what happens when you just go off of fading the public. That's not how it works, dude. I spend my day gambling, okay? I pick and choose my spots.
You're muted.
I pick and choose my spots, all sorts of sports. Sometimes I have the same bet that like Joe Schmo down the street has.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's the game. Like, and yeah, that's
the right bet is the right bet.
And it might, exactly. Yeah. That's it. It doesn't matter where the money is. The right bet's the right fucking bet.
Yeah. So that's another thing too. I've seen while we've given out picks, I've seen other content creators like maybe I'll check out a video and they'll be like, oh, there's one of our picks in there. The one token, it makes me feel good because I'm like, the right bet is the right bet. And then 2, also, it's like, you know, it kind of gives you some confirmation or verification that like other people are thinking the same as you. And listen, if you're a sports bettor, you should want other people around you, whether you're a content creator and they're viewing you or your buddies, you don't want to see anyone lose. So there's some people that will give out on TikTok like just dumb picks just to get clout. But when you're out here really trying to make money, and half the journey of doing this content is being like, this is what I'm putting my money on. So if you would like to tail what we're doing, we don't tell you guys to bet on shit that we're not betting on. We gave out this slew of picks for tonight. And let me tell you, I have locked in every one of these.
As have I.
There's no reason for me to be like, hey guys, this is what you should take, and not put my money literally where my mouth is. On that note,
most internet cappers do that, by the way.
Yeah.
I just want everybody to be aware of it.
Because what they want to do is they want to talk about secret formula bet to fucking betting. A secret formula for content creators is this: make enough money giving out picks that you don't have to bet. So a lot of people don't give a fuck if the bets hit or lose. Half of them, if they get busy and they're doing well, they'll just look at a fucking book and be like, okay, grab that, whatever the fuck, just throw it out. There's give them these picks. They don't really care or give a fuck. This is where we're putting our money. So if you like to telltale. Yep. Segueing into NASCAR before we get into it, I want to use this as the segue point. Can you speak on? We talked about how you target the NFL, the NHL, the NBA. How do you target the NASCAR circuit compared to other sports? Like, what's different about it?
There's a lot different about it. It does have to do with stats, yeah, of course, but it's because the careers in NASCAR, when you get to the Cup Series level, are so long. Like I just feel like the same guys are around. Like you have insane amounts of data from like every track, every type of track. There's a great site, Driver Averages, which is what I go on. You have qualifying, so you know like every week where that car is running, like how it's running. Like, did this guy finish in the top 5? Like obviously he's got a good car this week. That's great. Let me target him against somebody who's finishing in the bottom half of qualifying. Like, and they're on top of it, you have data that like proves to you and shows to you like which track type, which tracks, like what cities this fucking guy drives better in. Like, and it's always consistent. Like there are obviously NASCAR, it is a bit, you're dealing with a car, you're dealing with other people like pit stops and stuff like that. Sometimes you get an outlier. Like last week we had a little position on Michael McDowell to win. Mm-hmm. He had an electrical issue with his car, but before that he was top 4 the entire day. And like you can't plan for that shit, but sometimes it happens. Like I think we would still, like that. Exactly. We would have been on the right side with that. Daytona is a crapshoot, anyways. But I think seeing the first part of that race, seeing him run, like it was the right spot. I think he would have been top 3. I think he probably would have won that race. He had the best car all day, I think, besides Logano. Again, he's finished it on the pole this week, so we're gonna, it's a little precursor to
what track is this for this race?
For this week, we're at Atlanta Motor Speedway. So this is Atlanta. But yeah, so NASCAR is a little different. I feel like there's so much, like there's such a volume of information about how people do, where they qualify. On top of it, you can watch it with your eyes. You can see. It's like if the fucking NFL, like if the Chiefs were playing the Bills and the Chiefs and the Bills played a scrimmage before the game, like where you could see like, okay, they're looking good here. There's an obvious week. You have so much data where the strengths and weaknesses are on a fucking NASCAR track. You just do. So I love the sport. I think obviously if I wasn't successful at it, I probably wouldn't watch it at all, like to be quite honest with you. Yeah. But I got into it through being a successful bettor at it. So.
Okay. So I have your picks for NASCAR today. I just took the screenshot you sent me and uploaded it. Is that straight?
Yeah, that's fine. Don't worry,
right, cool.
I can talk through it.
So this is what we got for tonight for NASCAR.
Yeah, and it's a little, I had to fit them. I usually don't have this many matchups, but this is what I plan to put on all of these matchups. I'll probably pump that Ryan Blaney line a little bit more. So what I noticed, I watched these two past I had both winners in the Trucks and Xfinity series this week. Sorry about that. I should have tipped them to you. My bad. It was a live play on both of them, but hit both of them. So this track, watching it, it's really hard to pass. There's only one line that works. It's the top line. So if you get stuck on the bottom, you're fucked, basically. McDowell starts number 1 from the pole. Reddick starts, I believe, 17th or 19th or something like that. I think it's going to be a really hard fucking day in the back of this pack. I think it's going to be a lot of not moving. Love McDowell here. I would play him. Similar strategies for these next two. Blaney starts at 6th. This is a Ford fucking race. 7 out of the first 10 drivers are Fords, and the other 3 are Chevys. I think Ford's going to come out here, could even do a little small play. I think Ford to win is like minus 115. I think Ford has a real like get back. They should have performed a lot better at Daytona than they did, but they're going to perform here this week. Blaney is starting in 6th. Bell is 22nd. It's going to be a slog for Bell to get up to the front of this fucking pack, and Blaney's good. Blaney's got a great fucking car. He had a fucking accident last week. Shit happens, but before that, Blaney went from the back to the front, from the front to the front, and stayed in the front the entire fucking time. He was top 5. Busher had a rough fucking week last week, but I think he's coming back. He qualified 7th. Chastain's 21st. I think Chastain had like his one like good week at a super speedway. Generally, Trackhouse is shit at super speedways. I'd be shocked to see Chastain beat Busher. Again, I don't usually have this many spots on a race, but I'm feeling fucking confident. I like these 3 drivers. Most confident ones, probably Blaney, and then McDowell, and then Busher. And obviously put your sticks on it accordingly here. But yeah, Blaney, McDowell, Busher, I think these are all good spots. And I have a small play on Michael McDowell at plus 1,800 to win. And I have a small play on Joey Logano at plus 800 to win.
Okay. I'm going to tail that Logano one because I'm a Logano guy, but
and
also
then, one more. I have Gilliland at minus 125 over Barry.
okay.
Gilliland qualified 4th, Barry qualified 12th, but I think Barry's just overmatched in that car, and Gilliland's looked really good. That's actually from Brian, though. Brian wanted me to throw that bet on everybody.
Okay. All right, cool. Yeah. So we'll lock those in. Is McDowell, Blaney, and Boucher, are they all Chevys?
No, they're all Fords.
All Fords? Okay. That's what I meant.
They're all Fords.
Yeah, so I like the McDowell spot in the Blaney one. I'm interested in. I think that one, based on the minus 125, is a good spot. I'm definitely going to throw a chunk of change on Logano as well. What time is this race, and what day is it?
I think it's 3:30 today.
Okay.
Yep.
It's a shame that you can't live stream sporting events and react to it because of all the fucking legal restrictions.
We could. I don't see how they would stop us. People do it all the time.
I think we should do it to Twitter.
Okay, cool.
Because if we did that just to Twitter, I think on top of it, people could watch the race as well. With our
we'll have to look into that. I feel like we can get something going on that. We should do that.
Okay. Yeah, so we can utilize. The only thing is with races, though, the one thing I use for streams for anything is StreamEast. They don't, or they at least didn't have Daytona.
Well,
but
I think I have a package.
Okay, so he's got a package. So there we go. Yeah. All right, so now segueing into TikToks based on the topic of our stream today, which is the secret betting formula. We talked a little bit earlier. If you want to rewind and check out some of the shit we talked about on advantages and spots we like. And then before we end the stream, I'll pop up all our bets again. And then if you guys want to follow us at Degen Fantasy on TikTok, I'm giving out all of these picks and a couple extras. And I'm going to do one for NBA and one for hockey. For NBA, I am 51-24 on TikTok. I have been fucking killing it. And one of the only reasons why it's the 24 is the ones that I've missed is because the NBA All-Star game. So actual 2 wins, I think I'm probably somewhere around 15, 13, 14, somewhere like that. But we went over one of them, so let's check out some of these TikToks. I think I should go double wide like we just did. And then let me drop down this display. Double wide like NASCAR, boy. All right, so let's get into it. Let's hear your thoughts.
If you're going to bet a favorite, go early. If you're going to bet an underdog, bet late in the week. Tell us why that is.
Well, that's a rule of thumb. Normally, the public bets on favorites. And you know, if you're going to bet on favorites, you need to get out of the way early. And normally, if you're going to bet an underdog, you wait till as late as you can, take the other side. That's a rule of thumb.
Oh, disappear. Yeah, so getting into that one in 2 seconds real quick. Sullivan says, hammer Vols money line in basketball or baseball.
I agree with the baseball. I think the Vols are probably one of the top teams in baseball right now in college. Not so much in basketball. I think the SEC is a little too fucking volatile for me to do that. But
yeah, I like the pick. I might throw some money on the baseball side of it. Shout out Sullivan in the chat. So would you? That was an OG. That was an OG right there. Do you agree with that strategy and that little bit of a formula to getting favorites early and underdogs late.
Yeah, I don't know if the public always bets on the favorites, but I understand where he's coming from. I think that is a good. It is. Realistically, the more money that comes on the other side is better for you because it's just going to inflate your line.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe that's a good. Maybe we should look into that going forward. Like if we, that's actually not a bad system, I think.
And that's something that I feel like I've done subconsciously, but never really like did it as a strategy or consistently. Because like with football, we talked about like maybe getting a favorite or like good lines early, because as they get closer to the game, they skew. Yeah, but underdogs late, like especially live underdogs do well even if they're up. But yeah, getting a team like that's another thing too that I'm gonna keep my fucking finger on. If the Hornets right now are underdogs, I wonder how close to game time that line's gonna skew. Even though they're on an absolute heater right now. So that is a great spot to be in odds wise. But I do co-sign and like that strategy, but would also like to throw some change on it and really play with it and see how well I do with it personally.
Yeah, you also do just he didn't mention anything about like this is a foolproof system. Like he's just saying, listen, if you're gonna bet the favorites, like do it early before the line gets inflated, and do it late so you can get the inflation. I feel like that's not him coming out here like hot, like, oh, this is the foolproof system to never lose a fucking game ever in the fucking world. Like he's just giving you the real shit.
It's an educated,
get out ahead of the money. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an educated line from someone that's definitely had their fair share of betting experience.
Exactly.
Let's get to the next one here.
Now I'm going to explain why it's so easy to fake your success as a sports bettor.
Those 3 wins are pointless. It's a lot of pressure. What makes a good sports bettor is that you either got it or you don't. You just got to be born with it, And I was just born with it.
Apparently, the best sports bettors are just born with it, whatever that means. One thing you'll never see from the fake guru sports bettors is proof of their bets before the game was played. A guy like Mozzie could make $100 million a month if he maintained a spreadsheet that contained his picks before the game and after the game and showed that he picked winners. I'm so confident that Mozzie is a losing handicapper that I'll challenge him to a bet. I'll create a spreadsheet and sign an NDA.
Okay. So Buddy put his money where his mouth is a little bit. Definitely seen my fair share of people just skewing their fucking bets and picks.
Yeah, it's very easy to fake a ticket. It's very easy to Photoshop. It's just very easy. I don't agree with him either. You got it or you don't. That's fucking stupidest thing I've ever heard. I don't even understand.
Either you got it or you don't. Flipping a coin.
That's not how it works. Yeah, that's not how it works. It's just not how it works. You got to have data. You got to have everything. But there's a lot of fake shit in this game. Like there's a lot of people that are just serving you up some fucking picks that they stole from someone else. There's a lot of shit that like people just do to fucking for the clout. I mean, it's the same shit. People want to get famous for anything. It doesn't matter. I mean, people do anything for fame. That's just how it is.
On that note, so I run an NFT company, and my number one goal with it was to be transparent. I wanted everything to be transparent. So
same shit we do here, by the way.
That's what I'm about to get into. So the one thing that I kind of brought over from that mindset of running that project is when I would throw up pics on TikTok, at first I would just tell you what I like and type it in on TikTok and have my TikTok text display it and then explain to you why I like it. I made a transition from doing that to just posting my tickets of what I put my money on. They're already locked in. And I'm saying, listen, you don't have to tail. You can take 1 leg. You can take 4 legs. You can take whatever. But this is where I put my money. That's it. So when people see those TikToks, if those bets don't hit, then you can actually go back and look to how much I lost. When those bets hit, you can look at and see how much I won. And so I use that as a transparent way to do it, but also to not bullshit anyone. Hey, you're out. So you want to have a good night. You haven't really done any research. You just got out of work and you're like, I want to throw some picks down. You see my TikTok and you're like, okay, this is physically where I can see where he put his money. And so, hey, whatever the fuck. It's not just like
I think that's the most commendable part, and not to like kiss our own asses here, but like I think that's the most commendable part about us. Like that graphic you popped up earlier, we had 8 picks on display. I think most people would have just displayed the winners and like not talked about the losers, but like we show the losers too. Like, listen, this game isn't like how much you lose, it's how much you fucking win. Like it's about like you have to be accountable first and foremost. We went 5-3. That's a winning fucking night. That's plus a unit and a half. Like that's fucking great. Like not everybody's fucking doing it. That's also hitting at a fucking decent clip. That's just about 60%, something like that. Like that's pretty fucking solid. That's where you should be.
Just from what I've put on TikTok, I did the math yesterday and I threw it in a TikTok. I am hitting at a 75% clip on picking winners for NBA basketball.
Nice.
And when I do, so I had one TikTok where because I've had nights like this where I place a big parlay and then I break them down a little bit. So I know when that big parlay hits, my entire night has just hit. And usually those are like a little bit of a change on it. It's a lotto ticket. But to wins, I've done pretty well on them. So I knew that I was going to have a TikTok at some point that eventually like I hit all of them. And it didn't take too long. It took maybe 2 or 3 TikToks for me doing it in that format to hit one. And what that did was it gave me recognition with people that like, okay, he's hitting. But also at the same time, people were able to see my balance on those slips too, because it shows how much you put to win.
You are definitely
you get
like
in your balance.
Yeah, you're definitely one of the few, if not maybe, we're top like 10 that display hits and misses, the actual balance, what we're actually putting. Like most people, like I sent you the ticket, like what I'm going to place on each of those NASCAR bets. Most people would have been like, oh, let me add like a fucking 2 here. So it looks like I'm going to put 2,000 on this shit. No, we show you what we're putting. We're not millionaires. Like we don't fucking like roll in dough. Like we're very much so using this shit to supplement our income. Like sometimes this is like the thing that saves our asses. Like that's just it. And like that's the skill that I feel like I helped Rocky learn. Like when it really comes down to it, like when you needed it, you were able, it's like a savings account. Like, oh shit, I have this to fall back on if I need it. I can't tell you how many times. I can't tell you how many times that this shit has like saved my ass. Like, so it's not like we're rolling in it, but it's also like we're like the higher end of the educated regular bettors. Like we're as close to sharps as you can get. Like if we had more money volume, I feel like we would be. If we had more money, we would be really, really fucking in a solid spot. But like, listen, this is what we're trying to teach you guys. Like, you don't have to have a fucking ton of money in the game to fucking make it. But like, if you're looking to make anywhere from like $500 to like $1,000 extra every fucking week, like we're your dudes, dude. We do this shit. And that's like, and when we lose with you motherfuckers. And like when we win, we fucking win. Like that's just like how it is. We're always going to show you what we're betting and how we're betting. And that's what you should do if you have like actual balls. Like you shouldn't be just fucking tricking people into spending their money. Like I don't get why people do that. I don't get why people fake tout. Like I don't like that shit.
Some people that have connections to books, they get a percentage of what people they get to sign up lose.
But I'm telling you one thing, if we ever get a fucking sponsor, I'm trying to beat their fucking heads in so you guys can fucking make money.
And
too.
then they end up being like, okay, we're done with you guys.
Yeah. Hey, good. Move on. Great. I'm not here to make other people money. I'm here to make myself money. I'm here to make my audience money.
What it feels like as a business owner and a freelancer, it feels like another job. Because I get paid through different avenues, and I look at my account and I'm like, because it's what it is. But that's what it feels like is when a bet hits after doing research and like really grinding, trying to find the right picks, and like even for example, like doing the stream, like we don't get paid off of these streams, but prepping research just for the streams to talk about. When a bet hits, it feels like a check just came in for a payroll.
Yeah,
and the best part about it is like, I'm just employing the money, and at the face value, it might be gambling, but also it's an investment. And I feel like when you handle it the way we do, it's more of an investment. If I'm putting $500 on an underdog team, because if they do win, I'll get $45,000. Like that's where I really feel like it's gambling. So you try to tread the line, and also you just have fun. So it's all in good taste, and that's why I feel like the transparency.
Another thing, and that's like another thing. This like. Gambling is only a problem when you lose. Like that's it.
Yeah.
It's only an issue when you're losing. That's it. But like, if you're doing it and you're successful, and like successful could be $500 to $1,000 extra a week. Like when you're like in the middle and on the fence at all times, like that little bit of money could get you where you need to go. And like, that's literally what we're doing. We're just doing this to like supplement. That's it. And it fucking happens to fall in line with something that we really love. Like we love competition. We love sports. That's just how it is. So it's great to like not only be sitting down watching TV like a fucking like a couch potato, but like you're also like doing research. You're also like actually in the fucking game, like earning money on something that you love. I think that's like the best way to earn money.
Yeah, and I felt it when I watched it at that live Heat game. I felt like because I wanted to have a good time, so I put a lot of fucking research into it, going to a live game and being like, I just want to hit. And I got lucky going into OT, and all my bets hit. But I left feeling like not just like, oh my God, I got lucky. I was like, damn, I actually the work that I put in like worked out.
It pays off when you do work in this business. It does.
It does. So
just like anything, by the way.
And it's fun if you're a sports fan. One of the reasons why I fucking I got into basketball is because I loved watching ESPN every morning. I'd get up at 6 a.m. with a coffee, and for the first 30 minutes of my day, and this is like going back to high school, before I get on the bus, I'd watch ESPN.
Like the news. You know
and at that time, they didn't have a licensing agreement with the NHL. So all they would talk about is LeBron. Oh my God, LeBron James just changed his shampoo brand. What does this mean for the league? Like shit like that all day. So it slowly just got me acquainted with all these sports and like, but that's the fun of it. The research for these bets is fun. It's good fun, but also like it's good fun, like you said, when you're winning, and it's not a problem when you're winning. And you said if you're making $500 a week, $1,000 a week, that's good. But also I'll break it down. If you're making $50 a week, if you're making $10 a week, as long as you are plus and not minus, you're doing a good thing.
And that's okay. And that's another thing. Like you don't have to rake in a ton of money, but like if you're looking at gambling like fucking entertainment, like this is something you do as like an entertainment budget. I've had people look at it like this, like, hey, listen, instead of going to the movies or doing this or doing that, like I like to watch sports. So I'm going to take that $200 that I would, spend going out somewhere. I'm going to put it in a sports book and I'm going to gamble that. Like, and if you're coming out on top, like if you're taking 200 and making it 250, like that's a fucking win. Now you don't have to put anything in, and now you can fucking keep going after that.
Yeah, and
like
it's
just
that's
what
why
I taught. That's what I tried to pass on to you. Like it's not about the big hit. It's about fucking slowly building it up. And then by the time you're at a certain amount, now you're throwing 40, 50. Now you can really capitalize on having that bankroll.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's 100% true. It's the slow. It's the marathon. It's not the it's the marathon. It's not the fucking
sprint.
Not the sprint. All right, let's rattle these off.
You should not be placing any Prize Picks entries over 2 legs because there is no point in my head. It is so much easier to get 2 legs right, and the 2 leg pays out 3x. So there's, I think, 99% less room for error on a 2 leg, and you're getting paid triple what you'd get paid at any sports book for 2 legs. I don't understand why there's even an option to place more than 2 when you can get 3x your money on 2 people.
I mean, I will advocate for the 2-leggers. I think they're a great bankroll builder. It's a way to step your unit game up for sure. But who wants that? You know, you need the 10x.
Exactly what we just talked about. Precisely what we just talked about.
Yeah, it's we already know. Like it's a higher percentage to hit 2 legs than it is any other fucking parlay. And he's right. You should really restrict your lotto tickets, and that's why, like when Rocky places a bet, he'll go all the way up to a 5 leg, and then he's putting a 4 leg, a 3 leg, and a 2 leg on it. And that's like your 2 leg covers the expenses of the other bets.
3, 4,
that's what
5,
you want it to do. And then, of course, you're placing them straight because you're not a moron. And if you hit 3 of those, then you hit your 2 and your 3 leg. Then the 4th and 5th legs are free. It doesn't matter.
That's the crazy nights is if you hit that 5 and you broke down all those chapters. So say if I placed a 5 leg parlay, like exactly what you said, maybe I wouldn't do 5, 4, 3, 2, and then 1, but I would go like 5, then maybe 4 of one I don't like, and then from the 4, I would just go to 2, and I would place 2-leg parlays.
But that 2-legger is going to cover the expenses if all the other
of the extra leg parlays, because the best part about it is when you're placing on the 5 legs, the 4 legs, you're not going to place as much money, and that's why the smaller increments matter. Because say I placed a 5-leg parlay and I put $15 on it to win 210.
Yeah.
And then I get down eventually to my 2 favorite spots of that. If I put down, especially on spots that I really like, my favorite bets of the night for a 2-leg, if I put down 15 or 20 to win 20, that's going to cover. If that hits, and that's my priority, and listen, if nothing hits, that's just how betting is. Nothing hits and then you lose money. But if that 2-legger hits, I'm covering that 5-leg. So basically I have a free bet locked in.
Yep.
To be able to go and engage. Or even if I did on the 2-leg 10 to win 10 and my bet was 15, I come up fucking $5 off of my bet and I have a free bet out there.
Again,
and I've had those nights where they all hit.
As long as you're coming up, you're coming up. That's all that matters. As long as you're growing, you're growing. That's it.
So he was saying that like the slow grind, no one wants to sit there for a 3x. They want a 10x, like it's fucking crypto. They want a 55x. Whatever the case may be, though, yeah, it helps. Look at the odds. You're less you're more likely to hit a fucking 5-leg fucking parlay than you are to win the fucking lottery. But still, you have your odds stacked against you. So the smart way of doing it, and with straight bets, the one thing that I learned from you about straight bets is it sounds super simple, but the way that you are manipulated by sports books and by everything, whether it's what you consume, food, advertising, the two colors that entice hunger the most are red and yellow. McDonald's, Burger King, Taco Bell, Wendy's, they all use red. So you're being manipulated more than you think. But speaking on the straight bet part of it, you see that, damn, if I place $21, I'm only getting back 15. But what you said to me was, you said, but the difference is you're getting back 15. Yeah. And that's what's important. And then you're also getting back your 21. So the point of it being is that just like a crypto portfolio, if you're betting and you want to be successful and slowly grow your bankroll, you got to diversify your portfolio. Because if you stay only on the right side of the screen, 6 legs, 5 legs, and 4 legs, you may hit every once in a while, but odds are you are going to take a bankroll of $500 and over 2 months go down to 0. You probably go a little bit down, you're going to lose it. If you take the middle of the screen over and to the left, 4, 3, 2, maybe a 5 every once in a while, and a fucking 6 or a 10 if you put $1 on it just to have fun to end your night off. Say if you have 51.67 in your account and you're like, I'll just put the 167 on a fucking 10-leg and see how it goes.
Absolutely.
That's what it's for. Your
Listen,
10-leg
it's also,
parlays
you're supposed to enjoy this shit too. Yeah. Like, it's not just fucking a business. Like, you're supposed to have fun too. So, like, throw your 10 legs out, but like, don't put $10 on it. Just put $5 on it. Just put $1 on it. Like, get a crazy fucking like a 20-leg parlay and throw fucking $3-4 on it and just let it fucking ride. And if it hits, it hits. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Like, but like your other bets, 2 legs, straight legs, like, let's have $50 on it. Let's have $25 on it. Like, let's build up the bankroll while you're still having fun and putting all these crazy bets in there.
Do you know what I've often considered one? So I have 2 points. So one, you talked about it being fun. As soon as I start getting furious about sports betting, I'm going to really consider like what I'm doing. Because when I lose a bet, especially because the amount of increments that I'm doing, I'm usually doing like 25 to win 100 or 15 to win 100, especially with my bankroll management. If I lose a bet, I'm like, you fucking bitch, Curry. You couldn't get a fucking extra rebound. As soon as I'm like, fuck, no, I have a problem. And dude, I've thought about this. If I wanted to be a 6-leg plus kind of guy, what if I just really, really like every week went to Coinstar with like change that I found around my house and I built up $20, $15. Then necessarily I'm not really using my bankroll on this. And I go, okay, I had $7 in quarters that I found in my house. Put it in my fucking Coinstar, or I fucking go and I get fucking $7 bills for it and I put it in my bank account, throw it on whatever. Then it's like, that's almost like an easy, free way of like investing shit that's in your couch to something that is also fun. So then if you lose, you're like, Who cares? I didn't think it was going to anyway. And then if you might get
Yeah.
surprised, there's no point in taking your bankroll if you have $30 and being like 2 6-leggers and then 1 10-legger. Let's do it and see what you win because you're not going to win it.
Yeah.
So, dude,
No, you're not.
If you want to do 6, 7, 10 leg parlays, find some change. Get a couple dollar bills and fucking throw them in your account. Be like, this is for fucking.
And again, there are people that take their entertainment budget and put it in an account and just bet off of that. And let's say it's like $50 a paycheck or some shit like that. Then you're just in the game, and like sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Like there are ways to do this where you can, like, we're doing it in a way to where we don't have to put money in. Like that's the point. You're supposed to put money in once and then be able to bankroll off of that for the future. Then you go up to, you set a number. Let's say you have 250 in an account. You take that 250 up to 750. You pull out 500. So now, like, you're good. You're in the green, and now you still have that 250 initial investment.
And you got money
That's
to play
what
with.
You're supposed to do. Exactly. That's what you're supposed to do. Like, there are good ways to do this and there are bad ways. Like, if you want to put in $50 every paycheck and you're okay with losing it, like, go for it. Have fun. Like, do your thing. Like, eventually you will hit a 10-legger, and you'll be like, oh shit, like I came up $500. Like, that's a win. Like, and at least like you're having fun and doing your thing that way. But like, if you want to do it the smart way and not have to put money in, like, you have to find people that are actually betting, that are actually doing it the right way and grinding like we are. Like, this is a second job. Like, every day we wake up and we're looking at spots. Like, it's tough and it gets fucking, like, it's hard. But like, the best thing you can do for sports betting is like know when there's not a spot. Like, know when there is a night where like, okay, I really don't like anything. Like Fridays are usually a slow slate for me because there's not as many games. Like there, you know, it's whatever. Yeah. So I'll take Fridays off and just chill. I don't always need to have action. That's not the point of this. For me, it is a second job. For me, it is like, hey, if I need an extra $250, $500, I can just pull it out whenever the fuck I want. Yeah. Like, then I have it. But like, there are times when the slates aren't good. There are times when the games aren't good, and you have to know when that is. And you also have to know that it is okay to take a night off, to make sure that you're not just fucking throwing bets out there to
betting
throw
just
bets
to
out
bet.
There.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's
when you know you have an issue.
So my favorite thing to do is like something that I do with hockey. Like, hockey gets me through the week because I have something to look forward to, and that's just me playing personally in a league that's in my own town. But like with sports betting too, like on the note of not betting just to bet. Last night I looked at the games and for like 2 seconds, like peered on it just as a fan, not looking to bet on it. And I was like, I don't really like anything. And I looked at today, which was at that time tomorrow, and I was like, I like tomorrow more. That's where I'll start allocating my.
Exactly.
Someone even commented on TikTok, and they were like, "Got any plays for today, brother?" And I commented it back, and I was like, "I got plays for tomorrow. That's what I like more." And I was just like, "Yeah," because I could have been like, "Oh my god, they need them. Let me do them. Hey guys, here's fucking my picks that I like." It's just
and most people would fall into the like, most people would fall into, I got to give them out. I got to give plays out because I got to keep you. But that's not what you want to do, man. You want to make sure you pick your spots. And that's one thing that you have learned quicker than I learned, like quicker than most people have learned. Like, you have to pick and choose your spots. You have to be okay with being like, don't like anything tonight. I'm just going to let it roll. I'm going to do something else and I'll be done with it. Like, there are times when you have to know when to set your fucking cards down and go home, like, and just sleep it off.
Got to get out of the casino, man. A lot of people go in the casino for fucking days. They don't leave. You got to get them out. All right, let's keep rolling here.
Sports betting is hilarious. People that don't understand statistics sports bet. Have you never had a class in statistics? If you took a class in statistics, you'd understand where the bookie wins.
You're going to get on FanDuel and MGM Sports and make $20.
FanDuel is not about fans dueling. It's about you losing. You're at FanDuel's making bank. That's serious money. And it's all off of you because they understand statistics. Hello. Probability of a win, and you don't beat the odds after you play a while. You occasionally do, and that's what keeps the fools coming back. Just like my golf game. There you go.
I wanted to hear your take on that one.
I think it's some people view it as like like all the time you're going to come out on the bottom. I know for a fact, because I have spreadsheets, because I've made money when it comes to gambling in the long run. Like overall, I know how much I'm up. I know how much I'm down. Like he's talking about like people that just go in and just fucking bet randomly and shit like that. Yeah, you're going to lose. Like that's just how it works. Like that's what it's set up to do. The sports books aren't your friends. So like they're not offering you bets because they like you. They're offering you bets so you lose. Like that's just how it is. I think like exactly. And at any point in time, like you can't be that nihilistic about like a fucking it's a hobby, dude. Like it just is. Like, and there are some people that make a ton of money. So like he's wrong. Like you don't always lose because there are professional gamblers who win like on a consistent basis.
But just look at this is what I don't get about the sports betting like perspective is like look at it for what it is. Yeah. It's an industry where there's two sides. One side wants money from the other, and the other side wants money from the other. It's who wins. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
It's like, it's like if I made a bet with you right now that you couldn't fucking do a fucking 3 backflips in one jump. Like whatever the case may be, it's an agreement. You're hoping to get money. I'm hoping to get money. We see what happens. Whatever the case may fucking be.
And again, like, yeah, he's right. You got to be up on statistics and what we've been preaching to you guys. Like, be well read. Like, only bet on sports you really know. Like, that's just like, yeah, that's smart shit. But like thinking that you're never going to win is fucking. That's a moot point because people win every fucking day and people win fucking money. Like that's just, we've showed you that you can win money. If you've been telling us, if you've been following us, like you've made money. So he's wrong in that sort of circumstance, but like everybody's so like, you're either one of two things on this. You're either like so far the other way that you're like, this is so stupid to fucking gamble. Like, or you're like, okay, I'm fucking like, let's run it. Let's fucking throw a little cash on it. Like, yeah, you have people that really hate this industry, but like, I guarantee you if that dude hit a fucking 10-legger, he'd be like, oh fuck, this is great. Like, listen, you're going to lose sometimes. You're going to win sometimes. You just have to play the right spots.
And you can look at any sports book and be like, and see how much money's come in and how much money's come out. Mm-hmm. You can keep track of it. If you're hemorrhaging, like you're down 3K or 10K.
Yeah.
That's a problem. If you're listen, this goes for everyone. I don't want anyone to get discouraged. If you're within, say if you lost $200, say you put in $1,800 and the money that came out was $2,050. You're in the negative, but that's a healthy, because also like you can be up $200 tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't have to place a $200 bet to be up $200.
No.
So in that same token of like the give and receive, when I say that like there's two sides of sports betting, both sides want money from the other person. That's just how the game goes. As long as you keep it to a manageable rate and you're not blowing a paycheck because I lost a bet. You know, my account's at 0, so I got to put money in and place bet, try to get more upside play money. Oh my God, I lost those 2. Let me throw in another one. It's all about the money management. And if you really, really are struggling, the one thing I will say to you, taught here to me by Mr. Double Down Dan, is pull back on the parlays and just start chipping away. If you are down $200 for the month,
just chip. Just chip
away at it.
Do it. This is a strategy, and like, there's times when I get down, but like if I'm down 150. I'm going to not obviously put $200 on it to get all of that back at once. What I'm going to do is pick and choose my spots, and I'm just going to chip it. Okay, here's 40, chip, here's 50, chip, here's 20, chip, here's 35, chip. Like, you're just going to fucking chip your way back into it. Like, one, if you don't have the money to do it, don't fucking do it. Like, that's simple as that. If I didn't have money to bet with, I would not bet it. Like, that is the one line you cannot cross. Because if you cross it, then it gets dicey. Then you're like, okay, I have $10 in my account, and I need to go turn.
It's an addiction.
And that's exactly. And it's only and this is another thing. Like, it's not like crack. It's not like heroin. Like, it's only an addiction when you lose. Like, that's it. It's only a problem when you lose. If you're winning, it's not a problem. Like, if you're making money, it's not an addiction. It's not a problem. It's not.
And that's why we say chip, because people can be like, oh, what if I chip away and lose? Like, okay, so say if you're down $250 and you chip away a couple, $15, $20. Okay, now you're down, what, 280, 290.
Yeah.
It's gonna
Also have a line though. You have
Yeah.
a line. You have to have a line. Like, hey, listen, I can't lose more than $50 this week. So if I'm down 50, I'm done. Like that's it. You have to set boundaries. You have to.
If you're gonna do this, you can't casually just be like, "Oh, I like this team."
Yeah.
You gotta do your research.
Look into it, man.
What do we got here?
There's no secret that everybody that's in the realm of sports betting likes to do parlays, right? But let me give you some pros and cons to parlays, right? One thing about parlays, yeah, you may be able to put down $5 to make 100,000, right? But the likelihood of you turning that 5 into 100,000, very slim to none, right? Granted, the pro is if you put $5 in and you happen to hit all of those different legs that you place on that bet, then guess what? You end up turning your money like that, but it doesn't happen like that every day. So one of the safest bets that you can make is what's called a single. Granted, a single, you know, you may put $100 down, get 80 back, right? But that bet is going to be safer because truth be told, it's hard to win one bet. When you combine 10 different ones, listen, you'll end up finding yourself maybe hitting 8, but then losing on 2. And then now you look at it like, dang, I just wasted all of this money putting it on that when I could have just done 1 and hit for it. And then you just compound that over time. And before you know, boom, you have a bigger bankroll. And now you can put it on more singles and those smaller parlays.
Yeah,
Mike
I
is
mean,
really quiet, but yeah.
Yeah, it's similar to what we've been saying the whole time. I mean, he's right. Yeah, you don't hit 10 leggers. Like it's very fucking hard. Like it just is. Yeah, take your singles, take your incremental. Like, yeah, I made 25 today. I made 50 today. Like, just take it incrementally. But the biggest thing here is and this is the only hobby that you can turn into something you actually don't have to pay into. So that's what we're trying to do. That's all we're trying to do. We're just trying to make money so we don't have to put anything in. Like he was able to take out $1,000 the other day and he still had money in, and now he's already back up to 250. Like that is like successful. That's a successful hobby. And like, it's one of the only hobbies that is a successful hobby. Like everything else takes money from you. This, you pay in, but you can actually get out. Like that's what makes it so attractive. And like, you're looking at the board now, we accounted for the losses, but after we accounted for the losses, we're up almost 2 units on the night. That's a good fucking night. You got to be okay with that. If your 2 units is $50, be okay with making $50 in a night, but also set the limits for yourself. That's the biggest thing. When you start crossing boundaries and then when the lines start getting skewed, that's when you start losing. And that's when it becomes like a spiral and what you call the chase afterwards.
And I popped this up to explain that, like, okay, so say if I took Zabinajad, Hughes, and McKinnon, and I put them in a parlay and I put 30 on it, I could probably win 100. But speaking on a single bet, so you were taking $100 close to each bet that you showed before for your NASCAR picks. If I put $100 on each one of these props the other night, that's $800 in total. If it went exactly just how this went, I hit 5 out of 3, or I went 5 and 3 out of fucking 8 bets.
Yeah.
What I'm saying to you is that so if I did $100 on Zabinajad, Hughes, everybody, based on my hits, if I get $100 in return, I would be up $200.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my return would be $1,200.
Yeah.
So not most nights are gonna be like this, and obviously, like, we're not the fucking best of the best, but we do very well, and this is why singles are important. So, like, yeah, fuck, I'm propositioning $100. But odds are that if you could stay above 500, you are going to be making fucking money. Okay, cool. Lost $300, but I made $2, $4, $6, $8, $10, $1,000.
Yep. Simple as that.
That's how it goes. So single bets, use them and utilize them going forward. We got one more TikTok here. Then we're going to get close to wrapping it up in a second. I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you have any comments or questions, please drop them in before we end the stream.
NBA. No, I was betting NBA, and I had a system down. And I really think the NBA, and this is one of the reasons for why they've changed their rest period between games, because this was my system. I would go find teams that were on road tours, basically on the opposite coast.
Yeah.
So if you were, East Coast team and you were traveling west, and you were in your 3rd game in 4 nights.
Yeah.
Okay, you're tired. right?
Yeah.
And if you were not such a good team, you probably weren't playing that hard. If you're out, I don't know, in a big city, you're probably partying.
Yeah.
Right? I would always bet against those teams religiously.
That's probably good.
It was an amazing formula. I did extremely well with that formula. I did. It worked out well. I mean, it was amazing to watch. I mean, the teams would just fall off in the second half.
Really?
You know, it was like NBA Jam, right?
They were tired.
What's the strategy in NBA Jam? I probably shouldn't tell everybody this. The strategy in NBA Jam is to push your opponent the whole game, wear them down, build up their fatigue, right?
Yep.
They get tired in the fourth quarter, they got no energy, and you come in and you smoke them.
Yeah.
It's the same concept. You know, they were fatigued mentally, physically. So I'd always bet against them. It was a not foolproof system. Nothing's foolproof when you're gambling, but it worked well. I did wind up losing my ass on a Houston Texans game that pretty much I haven't bet a whole lot since then. I just
Houston Texans.
I bet the Houston Texans back in, I don't know if it was 04, 05.
Dude, this is with
Derek. No, it wasn't that. It wasn't that much money. I was a college kid.
David,
wait, hold on. It wasn't a lot of money, but
Who,
I
is it
lost
Carr?
some money.
One of
I
the
lost a
Carr
good amount of
brothers,
money.
not Derek. David. Is it David Carr?
Yeah,
was the quarterback?
Yeah. I lost my ass on that game. I don't even remember.
R.I.P. to David Carr's career.
I don't remember what side I bet on or anything like that. I just remember losing that game,
dude.
and I haven't gambled much since. And I tell you, man, honestly, I've seen gamble.
That's a point though. Like, it's even people like that like were doing well. That like, if they wanted to get out, like, it's as long as you're not addicted to this, because there is sports gambling addiction, and if you have an addiction problem, go get help. But there's people that like, okay, I really went over and beyond like where I wanted this to go. So it's like, okay, hey, listen, I'm done.
Yeah.
And like, if you lose money that you made, like, that's one thing. Like, you made gambling. If you lose money that you're like working your ass off for, and your kids aren't eating, like,
it's
a different thing. So just have fun, enjoy sports. You're a sports fan. You've been a fan since you were a kid like us. You got a lot of knowledge that's not tapped into. And the one thing I'm always big on, whether it's maybe sports gambling isn't the best example, but monetizing your talent from your interests and your knowledge. If you're knowledgeable in sports, I'm knowledgeable in hockey. I've been going amazingly on hockey shots. That being said, I'm going to wrap up here soon in a minute. It's been an hour and 22 minutes. It felt like it was 30 minutes. That's, you had a good stream. Here's the recap for the picks tonight. Let me drop this down so you guys can see the full display. This is how we went and how we did the other night, which is this tab right here. 5 and 3. And here's our picks for tonight. There's no basketball in these ones. For example, Dan was saying, pick your spots. I didn't like the spots tonight. No basketball. I'm a hockey shots guy. Right-handed shooters is what we prioritize. They shoot the puck more. Their dominant hands on the bottom of their stick. That's more power. If your dominant hands on the top of your stick, you're a better stick handler, like Connor McDavid and Patrick Kane, shit like that. So we're looking at Braden Point and Steven Stamkos, and we're looking at Nikita Kucherov, all Lightning players. I wouldn't say lock all of them in. If you wanted to do a little Lightning parlay, you can go for it. My least confident pick on the board is probably Kucherov. One, because he's kind of been in a slump. Maybe he's due, maybe he's not. But it is going to be a fast-paced game that he's going to have to really keep up with against New Jersey, because they're a good young team, not just a young team. So I do kind of like the pick. I locked all these in. Dan locked all these in. My favorites are Bedard, Zibanejad, Point, Crosby, and DeBrincat. And I do like Carlson and Stamkos. Stamkos did not hit the last 2 nights. But, take these picks. You can take all of them. If you wanted to put an 8-leg parlay in, you can. This is not financial advice. Do whatever you like. You wanted to do all straight. I just told you an example. If I put $100 to get $100 back on all of our bets the other night, I could have been up fucking $1,200, and I only could have invested 8. If you don't have the bankroll for it, don't do it. You don't have to. Just feel it out. Play the exact percentage of what we were talking about before of, you got to really think about it, because on paper, when you're just adding shit together, you're like, you don't even realize what you're really looking at. This is our mock-up breakdown of just common knowledge, but just so you can visualize it. Straight bet, it's a coin toss. It's a coin flip. See how it goes. Work from the middle where 4 legs are down to the left, and I feel like you will have better odds, which you will statistically, and also you will have a better night financially. That being said, this is where you come if you want to get good sports knowledge. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I hope we kind of dove into the secret betting formula to win big, which is the title of this video. But I will give you one little hint and one little secret. There's no real formula to cheat the system. you got to go out there and do your research, and you have a good night. You have a bad night. I'm Rocky Prop, Rookie Bets, Chef Rocky, and let me tell you guys a little something. Double Dan knows. Tonight with these bets is where the butter meets the pan. So if you don't got something on the stove, you're shit out of luck. Prime up the fucking burner, throw a fucking brand new skillet on, and listen.
Bang.
Drop the whole stick of butter in.
Goddamn right.
Okay,
baby.
drop a whole stick in. And also, I forgot to recap. I'm going to give these out on TikTok in probably about 20 to 25 minutes. These are not all the bets that I chose to take, but I will be dropping a TikTok on what I took tonight on at Degen Fantasy on TikTok. It's been doing really well. I'm 51 in like 24 or some shit. I got to really look at the stats because it's on my TikTok. I don't have it right in front of me. NBA's to win. I'm hitting over 75% on. So make sure you guys check it out. Here's some of my picks. My favorites, I'll just tell you right now. Mavs, Cavs, Thunders, Nuggets, Bucks, Pelicans, and then touching and dabbling on the Hornets. Other than that, Dan, any final thoughts?
No, just got those 3 NASCAR plays. Hopefully those hit. Hopefully it's a good day for us and we make a little bit of money.
What time's the race today?
3 o'clock.
All right, guys, tune
Coming
in.
up quick. We got an hour.
Tune in, enjoy, make some money, keep it responsible, have fun, and play singles. This is Double Down Dan, Rocky Prop, Chef Rocky, Butters in the Pan. We'll catch you guys next week. Yeah.